Camping is often seen as a peaceful escape into nature, a chance to unwind and connect with the great outdoors. However, beneath the serene surface lies a darker side that can turn a tranquil trip into a nightmare. In this video, we will delve into 3 terrifying true stories of camping trips gone wrong, each one highlighting the chilling fear of isolation that can grip even the most seasoned adventurers. The Vanishing Hiker. It all started in the wild, untamed beauty of the Pacific Northwest. Towering trees stretched towards the sky, and lush greenery surrounded a group of friends on what was supposed to be a fun weekend camping trip. Laughter echoed through the forest as they set up camp, telling stories around the fire and excitedly planning their hikes for the next day. But no one could have known how dark the trip would turn. As the sun rose the next morning, Jake, one of the friends, decided to hike to a nearby summit alone. He was eager to capture the view from the top. At first, the group didn't think much of it. They knew Jake loved solo adventures. But as the hours ticked by, that feeling of unease began to creep in. The vast, quiet forest felt heavier, as if it was holding its breath. By late afternoon, Jake still hadn't returned. The group called out for him, their voices swallowed by the trees. There was no response, just the rustling of leaves and the distant calls of birds. Dread started to settle in. As the sky turned dark, their worry turned into panic. They contacted local authorities, and soon search and rescue teams arrived, combing the dense forest and rocky terrain. Days passed, then weeks. Despite the tireless search, there was no sign of Jake, but eerie clues began to surface. An abandoned backpack, a water bottle, and, chillingly, a single hiking boot. Each discovery seemed to point towards something sinister. What once felt like an ordinary forest now felt alive, watching, waiting. Jake had vanished, leaving behind only unsettling fragments of his presence. The friends were left with nothing but questions and a deep sense of loss. The forest, once full of joy and adventure, had become a place of haunting silence, holding on to its secrets. They never found Jake, and the group would never be the same. The Uninvited Guest. Deep in the heart of a tranquil forest, a group of campers set up their site beside a calm, mirror-like lake. The evening air was filled with the soothing sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. As the sun began to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the campsite, they roasted marshmallows and shared stories, unaware that their peaceful night was about to take a terrifying turn. Laughter filled the campsite, but as night fell, something shifted. An unsettling stillness crept in, wrapping the forest in an eerie silence. What had been a cozy retreat started to feel off. The first strange sign came when they realized their food supplies had been tampered with. Items were missing, some had been moved. At first they blamed it on raccoons or other wildlife, but then came the creeping feeling of being watched. Shadows flickered just beyond the reach of their campfire, and faint whispers seemed to drift through the trees. Whispers that sent chills down their spines. The tension grew thicker with every passing minute. Things took a darker turn when one camper, Sarah, swore she saw something, or someone, lurking at the edge of the woods. She described a tall figure standing just at the tree line, its silhouette barely visible. And then, in an instant, it vanished into the darkness. Her heart raced as she tried to convince the others of what she saw, but fear had already taken hold of the group. They quickly gathered their belongings, ready to leave, but before they could pack up, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed through the woods. Crunching leaves, slow and deliberate. Panic set in. They called out, desperate for an answer, but there was only silence. As the night dragged on, fear gripped them all. They were miles from anyone, stranded in the remote wilderness, with something unknown watching them from the shadows. The darkness pressed in, and with every sound, every whisper of the wind, they realized they were no longer alone. The Haunted Woods. Deep in the heart of a dense, shadowy forest lies a place the locals call the Haunted Woods. A stretch of land tangled with dark legends and whispered tales of lost souls. According to the folklore, those who wandered too far were never seen again, their spirits doomed to roam forever, searching for peace. When a group of adventurous campers arrived, their excitement masked an undercurrent of dread. They had heard the stories, but they didn't believe. Not yet. As the night settled in, the campers gathered around the fire, telling ghost stories that sent shivers down their spines. The flickering flames cast long, twisted shadows against the trees, and the wind seemed to carry the sound of distant whispers, as if the forest itself was listening. But as the hours passed, something changed. At first, it was just an unsettling feeling, like they were being watched. They laughed it off, blamed it on their imaginations running wild. But then, the whispers grew louder. And it wasn't just the wind anymore. Objects started moving on their own, small things but enough to catch their attention. Strange, flickering lights appeared deep in the forest, too far to be campfire glow, yet close enough to send chills down their spines. The sound of footsteps echoed around them, slow, deliberate, though no one was there. One by one, they each began to experience something strange. The line between reality and whatever haunted these woods blurred. Fear gripped the group. They felt trapped, isolated by the towering trees and the thick, pressing darkness. Paranoia set in. The campers huddled closer to the fire, their eyes darting to the shadows beyond the light. What was out there? What was waiting? The joyful atmosphere of their trip dissolved, replaced by dread. They could feel the presence of something, someone watching. The stories they'd heard suddenly felt too real. As the night dragged on, each sound became more menacing, each shadow more sinister. The past and the present seemed to collide, and the spirits of the haunted woods felt closer than ever. By dawn, the campers weren't sure if they had spent a night lost in the darkness of their own minds, or if the haunted woods had claimed another set of souls. If you found these stories as captivating and chilling as we did, we encourage you to engage with our channel. Don't forget to subscribe for more spine-tingling content, like this video to show your support, and share it with fellow outdoor enthusiasts who might appreciate a good scare. We have plenty more outdoor horror stories and camping tips lined up, so stay tuned for our next adventure into the unknown. Thank you for joining us, and remember, the next time you head into the wilderness, keep your eyes open and your instincts sharp. You never know what might be lurking just beyond the trees.